What's up, you guys? It's Victoria. So today's video topic is near and dear to my heart, and it's all about why you should avoid the term accent reduction and why this term drives me crazy, and the research supporting why you should avoid this term. So if you're interested, then by all means, keep on watching. So at first glance, this may appear to be a very strange topic for a video, given that theoretically, I do accent reduction for a living, but I think how we frame something is extremely important, even more important than you probably initially may think. So the reason for which I've always just disliked this term is that it's inaccurate. It's a misnomer. So what are you actually doing if you're getting rid of your accent or if you're trying to reduce your accent? What are you actually doing? What you're doing, right, is that you're trying to learn to acquire North American English sounds and speech patterns, so the stress and intonation patterns. So accent reduction, of course, I get where this term may have come from, right? But it's not what you're doing. It's what someone that you're interacting with is perceiving. So this is kind of my main qualm about this term. Who cares what someone else thinks, right? I don't care what Joe's perception is of, hey, Johnny, your accent's less lately. Have you been reducing your accent? I think it's so important, whatever we choose to work on in life, be it our pronunciation or something totally unrelated, that the goal is ours, that we take ownership of it, that it's something that we're motivated and excited to work on, and not what someone else thinks we should be doing or what someone else is perceiving about us or whatever. You get the idea. So I think it's very, very important that if this is your goal, that you frame the goal in terms of yourself and what you have to do to achieve that goal, not whether someone else thinks that you now have an accent or have less of an accent. So what should this process be called? There are many things it could be called, right? But think about what you're doing. So you're learning American English pronunciation, or even more basic, you're learning American English sounds, so the consonants and vowels that exist in North American English, right? Or you can think of the process as stress. I'm learning North American English stress and intonation patterns, or the melody of North American English. So there are many, many ways that you can conceptualize the process, but think about what you want to do, not what you want to not do. So I should mention to you guys that over the years, I have attempted not to use the term accent reduction. So in other languages that I speak, I don't use the term because the term sounds weird. If I say what I'm doing, and let's say I'm speaking in Polish, I'm gonna say that for my job, I teach people North American English pronunciation and intonation patterns. I wouldn't frame it as I try to get people to get rid of their accent. It would just sound very, very unusual to frame it that way. So I've tried to do the same thing in English when someone asks me what I do for a living. I've tried to say, oh, I work with non-native English speaking professionals who are looking to learn American English pronunciation and stress patterns. And two things typically happen. Either people look at me and they're like, okay, so you're an English teacher? And I say, not exactly, but okay, fair enough. Or more often than not, people look at me with pity in their eyes, like thinking, she doesn't even know what she does is called. And they'll look at me and they'll say, oh, so you do accent reduction, as if I actually didn't know the term. So it's just one of those things. It is the industry used term, accent reduction or accent modification, but I really, really don't like to use it. The term is also just fundamentally inaccurate because you're not in any way getting rid of anything. So in learning North American English pronunciation, you're not erasing your native language's phonetics and phonology systems that are hardwired into your brain, but that's very much what the term suggests. And I've actually had many clients over the years who were initially hesitant to learn North American English pronunciation because it's called accent reduction, because they really felt that they would have to kind of give up a part of their cultural identity to do so. But that's obviously not the case, right? Right now, if I chose to, I could switch on my Polish phonology system and speak to you in English with Polish vowels instead of North American vowels. So it's not that I've reduced my Polish accent, it's that I can apply different filters and I can speak using Polish vowels or North American vowels depending on which language I'm speaking in. To put into context how bizarre this term is, let's pretend that you're a singer, okay? And you are a pop singer, but you want to learn jazz. So what would you say to people? I think you'd probably say, I'm learning jazz. I'm working with a teacher who specializes in jazz music. I don't think any musician would say, I'm doing pop reduction training, right? Because you can still do pop, right? You can still do whatever it is you did before. You're learning a new skill. You're in no way getting rid of or eliminating or erasing a different skill. So that example always makes people laugh, but it's true, right? We don't use this kind of a reduction analysis for other skills that we're trying to learn. For whatever reason, it's only really stuck in this domain, unfortunately. But if right now you're thinking, who cares, Victoria? You're being a touch pedantic, and I get it, but does it really matter? It does, my friends. So I think it's really important that you guys know the research behind goal types. So there are two types of goals. There's something called approach goals and avoidance goals, okay? So an approach goal is something that you want to learn, something that you're working towards. And an avoidance goal is the opposite. It's something that you're avoiding or that you don't want to happen. So if we look at a different domain entirely, we might say that my goal is to get into shape, to get fit. So that would be an approach goal. An avoidance goal would be, I don't want to get heart disease, right? So now if we apply the same idea to accent reduction, well, an approach goal would be, I want to learn American English. I want to learn American English sounds, pronunciation, stress patterns. An avoidance goal would be, I want to reduce my accent. So there is a lot of research behind approach versus avoidance goals. And I want to share with you guys 6 reasons why it's actually harmful for you to be using and conceptualizing accent reduction and why you should reframe this goal instead. So the first 5 reasons that I'm going to share with you guys come from researchers Ken Sheldon and Andrew Elliott. So here they are. So the first reason for which you don't want to think about this process in terms of avoidance is that avoidance goals actually cause us to feel less satisfaction with our progress and to have greater negative feelings with our progress. So obviously, this is already a work-intensive, difficult process. So let's try to optimize our chances for success as much as possible. The second reason is a huge one. It's so important, and it's actually because avoidance goals lead to decreased self-esteem. And I hear from so many of my clients that not having perfect North American English speech already impacts their self-esteem quite a bit and impacts how confident they feel. So certainly you don't want to add to this by calling it accent reduction instead of what the process really is. The third reason is decreased personal control. And to me, this one really makes sense, right? Because at the beginning, I said that calling something accent reduction, it's not about you, it's about someone else. So I really feel that even on a subconscious level, we're giving control of our destiny, but really though, to somebody else, right? So again, it's your goal, so frame the goal in terms of yourself and what you want, not in terms of what someone else is gonna think or say about it. The fourth reason is huge. It's that avoidance goals make us feel less satisfaction in life, globally in life. So I don't need to comment about that, but obviously that's not what we would want. The fifth reason, again, it really doesn't need much commentary. It's that it makes us feel less competent. Obviously, not a desired outcome. The final reason why you should avoid the term accent reduction or avoidance goals in general comes from a different researcher named Matt Dan, and it has to do with procrastination. So in fact, we're much more likely to procrastinate if we have an avoidance goal rather than an approach goal. And to me, this really makes sense given some of the research we've just looked at, right? So if an avoidance goal is making you feel less competent, and if you're feeling negative towards your progress, obviously you're more likely to procrastinate because you're not feeling especially excited or good about this goal. So what should you guys do with this information? I think it's pretty obvious, but try to frame whatever process you're going through, be it accent acquisition or any other goal that you may have, as a growth process, as an approach process, not as an avoidance process. Because I think given the research we've just looked at, I think you're gonna have a much higher chance of feeling good about what you're doing, putting in the work, doing it, and actually achieving your goals. So as always, I wish you guys the very best. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate your support. Let me know what you thought of this video in the comments below. And if you think any of your friends or family members who use this term accent reduction would find this interesting, then please share with them. I really do appreciate it. Take care, you guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.